Hey everyone! So here's a little something out of left field and some story time. I'll try and keep this as condensed as possible so we can get to work on prepping this guy out. Back in 1997, my parents bought me a skateboard for Christmas after I was coming out of baseball season. And all I did was just kind of ride it around. I didn't do too much with it. And a buddy of mine who lived a few houses up also skated. He showed me how to ollie and try and do a pop shove it. I never really got the hang of it. I didn't put too much time into it, and that was that. When I got to middle school in 1999, my dad had put me into the band program. I played alto saxophone. Was pretty much in band all the way until my first semester of college. At that point, I was playing baritone saxophone and guitar, but that's another day and another story. So I was in the band program in middle school, starting in the 6th grade. Also, that was the same year that the first Tony Hawk Pro Skater game came out. And when that game came out, man, it hit hard. Everyone was playing that game. Even kids that didn't play video games were playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. So skateboarding became cool. It was the thing to do. I loved it immensely. It was just always music and skateboarding in middle school. That was just kind of my thing. The start of my sophomore year of high school, so that was I'm probably gonna guess October of 2003. So we were already into school. We were already into the marching season because I was in marching band, wind ensemble, all that other stuff, whatever. The weekend of a field show competition, a bunch of my buddies and I came to school early so we could skate, which that was kind of frowned upon back then, but you know, whatever. We skated, and I had twisted and ran over my ankle with my board trying to do a stupid switch kickflip off of this little planter box thing. And I sprained my ankle to the point where I couldn't walk all that well. And I just decided, you know what, music's far more important. I quit skateboarding. And that was kind of the end of that. Fast forward, what? 13 years later, I was on YouTube and I was just watching a bunch of your guys' videos, actually, just trying to get caught up on everyone's projects and just seeing what's up. I got a little curious. I was like, you know what? I wonder what all these old guys that I used to watch skating are doing nowadays. So I looked up Rodney Mullen real quick and I was like, wow, he's still skating. I started doing a Google search to see if there's any board shops around that I used to frequent. No surprise, most of them were closed except for this one called Board Shop of America out in Riverside. And I guess Google keeps track of what you look at, because the next time I went back onto YouTube, it kept suggesting this channel to me called Braille Skateboard. Sorry about that random cut there, but yeah, anyways, Braille Skateboarding. Once I just started watching their videos, I got so into it. Their Stupid Skate, where they just like try to skate random stuff that's not skateboards. I thought that was pretty funny. Their Worst at the Park, like worst skateboard, shoes, trucks, wheels, whatever. They do a giveaway when they find the worst. I thought that's really cool of them. Their You Make It, We Skate It, I thought that was really cool. Some of the stuff they get sent's pretty sketchy, like a Lego skateboard or the Mirror skateboard, and then they also get sent stuff that's like really cool and kind of something that's worth checking out, like the carbon fiber skateboard. I thought that was really awesome. Then from their channel, I found a couple other guys. There's Mike from Progress Skateboarding. I believe he's kind of in a similar situation to me. I think it's been like 12, 13, 14 years he didn't skate, and then he just picked it back up. And then there was another gentleman I was talking to on his comment section. I think he's in his like late 40s, and he just started to learn how to skate, and he's like doing like bowls and vert ramps and stuff like that. And I was like, man, that is so cool. And that just kind of sent me over the top. I ended up buying a complete. This is just a deck right now. And here we are. So there's my story time for you guys. So on to what I'm going to do. Back in the day, I used to just buy like boards that already had like graphics on it and whatnot. But now that it's 13 years later, I've been painting cars. I kind of know how to manipulate paint now. I'm going to give it a shot at painting my own skateboard. I'm unfamiliar with the paint that they use on like Pro Decks or whatever else. I'm going to assume it's a far inferior paint as to automotive paint, but I'm going to prep this thing up in a similar fashion. but I'm going to leave it in a little bit more of a coarse grit. I think I'm going to stop at 180 and then just spray some whatever color I dig up out of my cabinet. I'm going to start the cut with 100 grit and then finish it out to 180, and then I'll figure out what I have laying around there. So yeah, thanks for listening to my story, and let's get started. Alright, now for the 180 grit. Alright, so I got the board cleaned off. I'm going to cover up the holes and then get this whole top side covered. I'll also see if I can mask this edge off here, and then we'll be ready for paint. I dug up a couple colors that are probably the only useful ones I have right now. I hope I'm saying this right because I never really heard anyone else say it, but this is some ermine white from that 62 Impala I painted last year. Kind of like this super dark grayish white looking color. And then we've got this, I don't even know what to call it because I mixed a couple things in here. It's a very offensive blue, I guess is the best way to describe it. So that was interesting to say the least, trying to tape this thing off. Already I see quite a bit of potential for a how-to series on painting a skateboard, whether it be for spray cans or a spray gun, rattle bomb paint or automotive grade paint in a spray can and a spray gun. I don't know. We'll figure that out once that time comes that I pick up another board to paint. But what I ended up doing is I took a razor blade and I traced the edge as best as I could. And I came back with a piece of 180 and I sanded the tape down to where it just kind of has this milky edge here. And hopefully when I lay out the paint, I'll be able to pull this tape off and no paint will come with it. So here's for hoping. So I just took the tape off, and I gotta admit, came out a little bit better than what I was expecting. I didn't know how this edge was going to turn out since I had trouble laying out the tape and trying to cut it with a razor blade. So sanding it down with that 180, trying to, I don't know, follow that line in the board. Yeah, not as bad as I expected. Not sure how well you can see it, but there is a definite line right there. So what I'm going to do is take off for the day, let this sit, and I'll come back tonight and I'll rough it down with some 320. And as I get this whole part flattened out with the 320, I'll take that same piece and I'll just kind of smooth that edge out and get this thing prepped out for the blue lettering. I'm probably just going to clear it with like a cheap spray can clear. I don't see a point in using some 2-pack at this point, because I'm just going to grind it off. So, but this is turning out to be a fun little experiment so far. So just haven't had a whole lot of time to really sink my teeth into this, but I got a couple hours today. Finally got this thing sanded flat with 320. There's a couple spots I missed, but I'm not going to get too fussy, because this is just going to get grinded off anyways. So this is more or less a trial run. I'm going to give this a shot myself. Found some random brush in an old toolbox, and going to get some of that blue mixed up and see what happens. Well, that was completely embarrassing, but heck, I gave it a shot. It's my first time ever holding a brush, and it shows. Of course, I'm using paint you're supposed to spray out of a gun, but you know, whatever. Definitely kind of makes me get like a proper, like an actual brush and practice, but I think I'll do that on my own time, off camera. It'll probably take me years to get good at it, because I'm not an artsy person to begin with, but this will serve its purpose, I guess. I guess we'll see how it turns out when I clear coat it. Alright, so after I've let this stuff sit for another day, I came back and I just kind of roughed up the tops of this stuff with some 320. And I think I'm going to get a little experimental here. I found some leftover base coat from my dad's Lincoln that I did a blend on his trunk, which didn't turn out too great with these spray cans here, but this is a leftover one. The color, I believe, is like a gold parchment metallic something or other, or parchment gold, something like that. I feel like getting a little experimental here. I think I'm going to come back pretty far with it and just kind of like mist some of this on there just to get that metallic particle down and see how that works. Well, I just shot a really quick coat over that. Not really like going for coverage again, just trying to mist it over. Not sure how I feel about it, but it's been about 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and clear it with some clear that I picked up for a couple other little different odds and ends, and we'll take a look at it from there. Well, I rattle bombed it with some clear, and didn't come out too bad. I'm pretty happy with it, so I'm going to throw it together, and we'll take a look at it in the morning. Alright, so I finished it up, threw it together, and I've already started kind of trying to ride again. But I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. Not sure how well that's showing up in the camera, but misting that little bit of the base coat over everything, that gold pewter, whatever that color was from my dad's car, I think it's pretty cool. I'm gonna take this thing out to a couple parks and really try to get good at this again, because this is pretty fun. Alright, there's some automotive paint on a skateboard.